Akaka Krabi Swampa. Well, once again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today is Sunday, and it's 19th July 2026. We're from the Kokusa, with me from the Costa. Now, I need one day my console about NCBA. From the late Daddy Lumba. May his soul rest in perfect peace. A very powerful song. My sister, my sister, so don't flip that out. Stay tuned.
Truth Radio, you are listening to Truth Radio Amsterdam, the sound of faith, the voice of Truth Radio Amsterdam.
And welcome to the news of the week on Truth Radio. My name is Sika, accompanied by
Francisca.
These are the headlines. The Netherlands Council of State warns against repealing asylum law. Cabinet appoints coordinator to tackle violence against women. President Mahama has spoken. NDC's James Agbe urges supporters to drop third-term campaign. Ghana Prison Service shifts focus from punishment to rehabilitation under new reform agenda. Now the news in detail. First with the Dutch news.
A bill to scrap the law that distributes asylum seekers more evenly across the country's councils should not go ahead. The Council of State has said, warning that a repeal would deepen the crisis without reducing the number of people arriving. The so-called spreading law, in force since February 2024, requires every council to house a set share of asylum seekers and lets the government force councils to provide places as a last resort. It is designed to ease pressure on the overstretched reception center in Ter Apel and cut reliance on emergency shelter. The repeal bill is led by the far-right Ja 21 and backed by fellow opposition parties, FVD and BBB, the breakaway group of MP Gidi Marcus Zora, and the independent MP Mona Kaiser.
The Cabinet has appointed Judith Kalpers as the Netherlands' first national coordinator for violence against women and domestic violence. A new post created to bring coherence to policy spread across 4 ministries. Kuipers, who currently chairs the national network of 5,000 domestic abuse advice centers, will start in mid-September, long-term care minister Miriam Sterk said on Monday. Her first task will be to access existing policies on violence against women, domestic violence and child abuse and draw up a national action plan for which MPs freed up an extra 10 million euros at the end of 2024. She will also act as a single point of contact for local authorities and care organizations with a support office at the Health Ministry. One of the ideas under consideration is a national helpline for women facing violence, reachable on the number 116. Too often, we only see the signals when it is already too late, Sterk said. announcing the appointment on behalf of the cabinet. Around 43 women are killed in the Netherlands every year, roughly one every 8 days, most often by a partner or ex-partner. The Council of Europe said last year that the Netherlands was not doing enough to prevent violence against women, and the cabinet moved last month to make coercive control a standalone crime.
Now, the news from Ghana. NDC's James Agbe has called on supporters of President John Mahama to immediately end public discussions about a possible third presidential term. He insists that the president has made his position clear and that the debate risks undermining his political legacy. In an opinion article, Mr. Agbe argued that recent calls by some supporters of President Mahama to remain in office beyond the constitutional two-term limit are misplaced and driven by narrow personal interest rather than the national interest or the future of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. According to him, attempts by some individuals to justify a third-term agenda through constitutional arguments have sparked widespread concern among political observers, legal scholars, and academics, with critics describing the conversation as a dangerous path toward electoral autocracy. Mr. Agbe stressed that President Mahama himself has repeatedly dismissed any suggestion that he intends to seek another term, pointing to the president's remarks during the Resetting Ghana tour in Ho. The people of Ghana gave me one additional term. My job is to work and deliver on that trust, not to look for a third term. The matter is settled, he said. Mr. Agbe maintained that the president's declaration should end the debate once and for all. He urged those he described as sycophantic allies to stop encouraging speculation about extending the president's stay in office, warning that such actions could damage both the president's legacy and the party.
The Ghana Prison Service says it is transforming the country's prison system from one focused primarily on custody and punishment to a modern correctional model centered on rehabilitation, skills development, and the successful reintegration of inmates into society. Director General of Prisons, Mrs. Patience Bafuboni, announced the shift in a message to mark Nelson Mandela International Day on July 18th, stressing that imprisonment should offer offenders the opportunity to reform, rebuild their lives, and make meaningful contributions to society. She said the transformation is being driven by the Think Prisons 360 Degrees initiative, launched in 2025, which seeks to reposition prisons as centers of hope, healing, productivity, and national development. The initiative represents a paradigm shift from a purely custodial institution to a modern self-sustaining rehabilitation ecosystem where prisons become centers of hope, healing, productivity, skills development, and national relevance, Mrs. Bafuboni stated.
To end the news, a recap of the headlines. The Netherlands Council of State warns against repealing asylum law. Cabinet appoints coordinator to tackle violence against women. President Mahama has spoken. NDC's James Agbe urges supporters to drop third-term campaign. Ghana Prison Service shifts focus from punishment to rehabilitation under new reform agenda. That was the news read by Francisca and
Sika.
Thanks for listening.
You are listening to Truth Radio Amsterdam.